Okay, Catherine, you may go ahead.
Thank you.
Before we do, though, I will ask that the staff members put their cameras on for the duration of their portion when they're speaking, if that's okay. I saw Craig briefly.
Yeah.
I think Kevin's up first.
Perfect. Okay. So
yeah.
Okay. So we're yeah. There we go. Okay.
Oh, I like your background, Kevin.
Yes, I like that. Okay. Well, we'll get started. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Oh my goodness, it's January, a new year. Can you believe it? Wow, wow, wow. I know. I hope everyone had a good holiday and that everyone's healthy and safe. And it's getting a little crazy. 2 appointments yesterday. My husband had 2 appointments. He went out for both of them, and he was back very quickly afterwards. And I said, "Why are you home so early?" He said, "There was a sign on the door." I said, "Oh, okay." Next one he went to, his chiropractor. Came home early. There was a sign on the door. So it's just, things are spreading so quickly. And I think, people aren't even having an opportunity to advise their clients and their customers that, there's a problem. So everyone just stay safe and eat well and do whatever we need to do to be safe. Okay, so we'll just start the meeting. As I noted, Heather's going to be late, and we have not heard from Doug, and Councillor Thompson is not here yet, but we might as well get started. We're just moving on to our discussion items, which the first one is the East Bayfield Community Centre and the St. Vincent Street Park Playground revitalization. I'm looking forward to hearing about this. Okay, we'll pass it over to Kevin, right?
Thank you, Catherine, and members of the committee for allowing me tonight to come and talk to you and give you an update. Tonight's really an update for the committee. I had spoken with Cheryl last week, and it's a bit premature for us to bring any type of visuals or a formal presentation. So I'll just kind of walk you through the thinking and where we are to date on the 2 projects. I'll start with the East Bayfield project first. So this actually is an update to previous information that we provided to the committee, I think on 2 separate occasions now, one from following the parents who came and did the deputation regarding the accessible platform swing. So this is kind of the evolvement of that project. So we've retained a landscape architect. We have just started the internal consultation last week. I can't pull up my screen. I'm having laptop issues right now. I tried to pull up an aerial photo, but essentially what we're doing is there's the existing childcare space that is attached to the building on we'll call it the southeast facade. We're looking at making a separate fenced area for the accessible platform swing that will be directly connected to the childcare space. 2 reasons. One, the childcare space obviously is a controlled space, so we can't have public coming in and through into it from outside or from inside out. However, the childcare space will have a gate so that they can access and take advantage of it as well. We'll be installing a new accessible pathway that comes right off of the roll curb that's just to the south of the entry to the community center. So there's actually a roll curb there, which is easy for drop off for people with mobility issues or other. And then there'll be a direct path connecting to this new fenced area where the accessible platform swing will be located. Given the cost, the weight, and some of the hazards and things that come with these platform swings are very large, a lot of sharp edges, very heavy when they're in motion. We've been working with our recreation staff, and I think we talked about this previously conceptually, that the safest way to manage this, because this is the first installation that we're doing, is that you would go into the client services that is within the recreation center, sign out a key, and then exit the building, and then just simply go around onto the path to enter into the space. The key helps with control, but it also helps us with kind of tracking, utilization, time of day that it's being used, not so much who, but a general sense of kind of the type of people, not type of people, but who and when it's being used. It'll help us build cases. Should this be a success, which I think we all agree it will be. It'll provide us information and data that we can use to justify expansion of the program in other locations. The project, as I said, we just started. The designers haven't even put pen to paper. There's some site grading, more to do with stormwater servicing than any type of pathway access or anything that we need to work through first. But we have all the internal players in agreement that this is a great way to proceed. And then I think following the committee, we still have an obligation to regroup with the parents, I believe, correct, Cheryl? Because there was a fundraising component, which I believe is complete. They have fundraised some money. I can't remember the exact value, and it's kind of mute at this point. This council has approved the project through our playground revitalization program. That's really the high-level summary of where we are today. Oh, I can give you some schedules. Sorry.
Well, let's okay. So that's the swing update, Kevin. But like that whole, like that East Bayfield Community Center is being revitalized, and that will include accessibility features, potentially resurfacing, as well as potentially new playground equipment. Am I correct?
You are. Yep. Thank you.
So perhaps we could just touch on that really quickly before we move on to the St. Vincent's, because overall, like I know there's already a playground there, a play space there, and I know that the rec staff are going to help guide you in terms of programming and stuff like that, which will determine the type of equipment you guys go out to RFP for. But I think there are going to be possibility, not everything accessible, but the possibility of introducing more accessible elements into that space.
Correct. I don't think anything else needs to be said. To be honest,
it is very early days. This is just kind of like okay.
The objective of the project is exactly as you have summarized it. Yeah, without a doubt. I think as I had presented previously to the committee, we are rethinking all of our play spaces and our park spaces in the lens of social equity and inclusion and universal design. It's paramount in everything that we're doing and the way we're thinking. So I'm hoping that the committee is pleased to hear that. The one thing I did want to make is timeline. So because budget was approved kind of mid-December, we could only engage the designer and start working quickly. Our hope is that we will have the design complete and the tender documents, the bid documents ready from the consultant to procure the actual construction in April or May of this year. So the construction, it will be constructed this year. That is the intent of the project. And it's a similar timeline for St. Vincent, which I'll speak about with just quickly. So St. Vincent Park, I'm sure most people are aware of it. It's one of the city's oldest parks in the East End. We classify it as a waterfront park. It's an interesting park in that it's designed in such a way that you have sight lines into it from 3 different ways. It's actually a very old style of park design that's actually coming back. Which is interesting, and it provides us a lot of opportunities on site. So the playground today is fairly old. It's about 23 years old. It is not accessible. Given the class of park and the location of park, we are proceeding to design it to be fully accessible. However, what we've done a little bit differently in the past with this program, we would typically go to playground manufacturers, give them kind of a suite of things we are looking at, elements. This time we've engaged a designer who's got experience in designing play spaces and inclusive play spaces. that we're going to do first. So we'll be working a little bit more objectively. I would suggest to the committee, instead of just relying on manufacturers to tell us what to do. And then that design then will go out to a suite of manufacturers or general contractors to bid on. So the language we've used in the RFP and the language we're using in any communication with regard to this project is, to encourage. I'll just read you some text from some emails that will be going out to councillors and out to the public. It's about encouraging social, physical, and mental engagement of persons of all age and all abilities, leveraging universal design principles. And some of the ones we're focusing on right now are, intuitive use, simple use, flexible use, legibility, low physical effort, and as I've said previously in the talk, equitable use. Fostering motor, sensory, creative, social skills, and providing excitement and challenge for people of all ages and abilities. And I think the key thing here is it's not just all abilities, we're talking all ages. So we're starting to explore what these play spaces mean to other people, not just children in those typical cohorts of 2 to 5 and then 6 to 12. There will be a public process on this one. It's the first time I think the city's ever done one on a playground, and we're hoping to start to do more of them, as Parks Planning's a new group or a reformed group in the organization, and we're looking at doing things differently than the past. So there will be an online survey, and I can follow up through Cheryl to the committee just to make sure you all receive this information. There will be an online survey that will start to probe some questions around accessibility and the type of play and the type of elements, both with the play space and with the park in general. We are not redesigning and reconstructing the whole park, but there will be some supporting amenities, different types of seating, connections, pathway connections, and certain things that we do want to explore through this design process. And then there will be a public PIC, which right now is scheduled for the evening of February 17th at 6 o'clock. But all of that information we'll make sure we funnel through Cheryl back to the committee so that you can participate as you wish. Again, the schedule's fairly aggressive on this project. It's the same as the other project. It's the same designer on both, which is fantastic. We are hoping, as I said previously, to tender both projects no later than May. Otherwise, we get into some real price increases as the market gets really competitive. So we're hoping we can stick to that target. And as I said, the St. Vincent Park will have a degree of public participation in the design process that we've never done before. So I would welcome you all to participate either individually or as committee members in that process as well.
Very exciting, Kevin. Thank you so much for sharing.
It's really exciting. Yeah, it's just incredible how things are happening, and sounds great. Any other comments, questions?
So for those of you that don't know, St. Vincent's Park is actually located over by the Parkview 55 Plus Center. So Louise Pope, she is it's close. It's not right beside it, but it's right close to it, right? Like, so in the East End. So and there is quite a large age-friendly kind of group of people that utilize that place, like park and area and beach, and they go to the North Shore Trail and everything like that. So Louise Pope is a member of our committee, but she also does third age berry stuff. So if you funnel the survey link to me, she'll definitely forward it to her third age berry people. And Catherine's connected to the entire East End of Barrie, so she can get it out that way. And I'm sure everyone else on the committee has their own individual connections of people who care about accessibility and care about parks planning, who would happily participate in this survey, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. There will be a formal communications plan that goes through the ward councillors to all councillors, the mayor's office as well. So I think that funnels through to you, but we'll make sure to get it through Cheryl.
Great. Marie?
Yeah, I just have a question about the surfacing. around the playground, and I forgive me if I've asked this before. I found when I take my kids, I use a manual wheelchair when I take them to the park. I find the wood chips are really hard to slog through.
They're not wood chips. They're not wood chips. They're
okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's very few parks that we have that have wood chips. It's actually manufactured wood fiber. And if you're having issues, because we use them because it's accessible, and we actually do test them with people who are wheelchair users. We've had people on this committee who've tested them, and also members of spinal cord injury test them. But what you can do for me is tell me which play spaces you're having issues with, and we'll make sure that we have maintenance staff look at that.
Okay, cool. It's the one close to where we live.
So the Painswick?
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah,
the big one. So over there, so Painswick. So that one actually, that one might be the one that's wood chips and not manufactured wood fiber. So I just shot myself in the foot here. So yeah, so we'll have to look at making a recommendation to change that because I think that one is still wood chips. Yeah. Yeah. Darn it.
If I could, Marie, we are actually looking potentially this year, but definitely in 2023 at a redesign of Painsword Park, which will include all kinds of different pathway connections, accessible connections, morality lighting, path lighting, and everything as well. The funding is in place. It's just a question of the staff time to be able to start that design process in 2022.
And it already has a lot of awesome features, which are great at it. So. And
we just did the pickleball.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But what you could do for me, Marie Francis, is take your kids to like Lennox Play Space, which is not too far from Painswick, or the Centennial Beach, both of which have manufactured wood fiber.
Okay.
They look like wood chips, and so people drive by and they're like, "Oh, they're wood chips, and that's unaccessible, so I'm not going to stop." And I'm like, "They're not wood chips. Stop! It's accessible." So, but please take your kids, and like right now is not a good time, obviously, but take your kids and test them, because we do have other people in the community test them for us and provide feedback, and we know that every once in a while we have to fluff up the fiber and do maintenance, but we can't be everywhere at once. So we need people to tell us. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So I'm sampling the only wood chip one in the entire city with the kids. Sounds good.
Oh,
all right.
That serves me right. Just shooting off my mouth and foot in mouth. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Do we have any other questions for Kevin, or can we excuse him? Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. Great information.
Very exciting.
We're really excited.
Great.
I can tell you we're all really excited. Yeah.
Great. Thank you all. Thank you all for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, now we will move on to the next item, which is the wheelchair swing update, which...
Well, he kind of did that, right?
He kind of already did that.
Yeah, he already did that. He kind of lumped them together. I just have one question for Tammy. Tammy, do we know if Councillor Thompson is coming tonight?
I have not heard from him. Let me just double check.
Because I had really hoped that he'd be here for the next discussion.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Let me just see if he's, I'm just going to check my emails.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you. I usually he's kind of joined already by now. So I just, we can obviously carry on without him. He would be providing a valuable council perspective. So.
It would be helpful for sure. Should we just for the moment go on to the next item and then come back to this in the event that he can make it? That would be great, I think.
Yeah, I can really quickly do the next one.
Yeah. Okay. So 2.4, the accessibility awareness training.
Yeah. So that is just a reminder that staff are still interested in having this committee participate, help with accessibility awareness training. And we had discussed this in November, and you guys were going to think about it. So staff are required to complete AODA training, and they do an AODA training module that's online. It's based on everything that the province requires staff to be aware of on all 5 standards. But our infrastructure team came and asked if it was possible to have some lived experience shared with them. And they're particularly interested in that in advance of construction season. And as I know, Catherine and Heather had participated in various ways as community members with the Dunlop reconstruction projects, and that you had run into different issues and concerns. I thought it might be helpful to have you guys provide feedback on that to this infrastructure group, because they are going to be organizing construction projects for the 2022 season. And in advance of that, they want to have their staff, you know, in addition to the legislation that they have to be aware of, to actually speak to people who have the lived experience of navigating our community with accessibility concerns. So any of you can participate if you're interested in participating, and it's a no pressure kind of thing. If you change your mind at the last minute, no problem. But it, you know, it would be wonderful if you could. We don't have any dates set up right now. I just brought it back to you guys as promised when we met in November, just so that you can think about it again. So a lot's happened since November. We had a whole holiday, and Omicron went crazy. And so, you know, I don't know even if that is a reality for our staff, because I think at the time in November when we met, we were thinking of in-person everything. So I don't know if like, obviously, you know, we could do a virtual session, but it may not have the same kind of feel to it that I think. So maybe what I'll do is I'll let the staff know, the manager know that I brought this up again, and that you guys are considering it, but that given the COVID environment right now, we're just really not sure how to proceed, and that's okay.
I think that's reasonable, and I think that you know, we might be prepared to participate, you know, online. It shouldn't be, you know, that shouldn't be a barrier to getting the information that that they'd like to have. But yeah, I think we just probably, for the committee, if we can get a better sense of, you know, what they're looking for before we move forward.
They're just looking for the lived experience of, so maybe that's what you guys provide. Sorry, just a second, Marie Francis. So maybe what you do is provide, like, you jot some things down, some of your thoughts about your experience navigating the Dunlop reconstruction. And maybe I could get Marie Francis and Louise and Carolyn and Heather and Doug to do the same, and just what the barriers are for you, you know, coming up against some sort of construction zone as a pedestrian. Marie Francis. Yeah,
that was pretty much what I was asking. They're just looking for things like, you know, when they were putting in the condos over across from St. Pete's, you know, they moved the sidewalk so that it was completely impossible to press the walk button.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Without going through like 6 feet of mud.
Totally. You know? Yeah. So, and that's the kind of stuff. So I'll give you another example. So we had a situation where on the Lakeshore, we had a design for the whole Lakeshore reconstruction project. and it was approved, and it had gone through accessibility review by the then accessibility committee. Our engineering inspectors checked it over, they looked at it, we talked about it with them, everything. And then when they were in construction, a design decision was made, but it didn't go that it was off scope. So for whatever reason, and it ended up causing us a lot of issues. We ended up getting in trouble with utilities providers and all sorts of things. But one of the fallouts from it, from an accessibility perspective, was that previously the design had the sidewalk flush against the light pole to transition the lights, to make the walk signal, to engage the walk signal. And then after the design decision went off scope, so the design on paper that we approved had everything perfect. And then the design, once it was built, there was a meter of space that ended up being just dirt and grass and whatever between the sidewalk edge and the light pole. And we almost got sued because somebody who uses a wheelchair goes against that route every day, and suddenly they can't engage the crosswalk. So our staff were like, holy crap, how did that happen? Because on paper, because when they look, the person calls and complains, and they're like, well, that must not be true, because I'm looking at the design and this is what it looks like. And he's like, I'm telling you, I'm right down here, and this is not, your design isn't what it, long story short, our staff went and they fixed it. They did a repair. I think they just did an asphalt patch, but so those kinds of things happen. Our construction staff, they're under the gun. It's lots of pressure. It's a very short window. It's the season. So they got to get a lot of stuff done, but they need to consider accessibility. So some of these things, we talk about them, but the legislation doesn't tell them what it's like to be in a wheelchair, Marie Francis, with your kids and trying to figure out what do you do? So those are, that would be really meaningful. So even if you guys could take a few minutes and jot some thoughts down about that would be helpful.
Okay, that's good.
I think maybe we should get to snow. It doesn't look like Councillor Thompson's going to join us, and I don't want to keep Craig and Brian.
So let's, I guess we'll just.
I sent him a chat. I sent him a message, but I haven't heard from him. So.
Thanks, Tammy. No worries.
No worries. Tammy.
Yeah. Brian and Craig are interesting all on their own, so that's okay.
And there's Brian. Hi, Brian. Where's Craig? There's Craig.
There's Craig.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, so we're moving forward onto the downtown snow removal related to accessibility. So take it away.
So I'll just jump in real quick, and then Brian and Craig can provide context. So
perfect.
So the conversation everyone has probably seen in the media lately, discussions with City Council and the BIA about what's to be done with snow removal in the downtown area. So currently the current situation, the current status quo, I believe still is that businesses are responsible for their own snow removal. Yep. So a proposal was made by the BIA to have city staff to have machines to remove the snow. And so I get a lot of complaints. I get the same complaints that Craig gets probably about accessibility and snow removal. And I get them from both ends of the spectrum. So I get them from people who are not happy with the machines, and I get them from people who are not happy with the business owners. So I don't know what the answer is necessarily. I don't know if maybe there's no answer. Our staff do a heck of a job with snow removal for the event, like we live in the snow belt for crying out loud. So when we have a really bad year, they're working around the clock nonstop. And also like from a enforcement perspective, which is he's here from enforcement services. So Brian's job, unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, is to tell the business owners that they're not living up to the bylaw and they got to get their butts out there and remove snow so that people who have accessibility issues and just everybody in general can deal with it. So he deals with a lot of unhappy business people who don't want to hear from him. So that's generally the discussion. And I thought that since this was happening in the wider public, that the committee might want to have a discussion about that and hear from our staff directly rather than just the newspaper about what's what. So take it away.
There we go. Okay.
I can speak to the pilot if you'd like to hear a bit more about that.
Sure.
Yeah. So as Cheryl mentioned, council did approve some funding for us to start a pilot for the 2022-2023 season in the downtown to clear snow on sidewalks. So it doesn't take effect immediately, but next season it will start. And the intent of the pilot is to remove the bulk of the snow that accumulates with machine. And that would occur overnight to avoid any conflicts with pedestrians for safety reasons, obviously. And I guess one thing about that is the machine would, the sidewalk machine would remove the snow, but it wouldn't necessarily leave a completely bare pavement. It would get it down as close to bare pavement as possible. So there will still be some work for the downtown merchants to clear the rest of the snow and salt it. The machines will leave some windrows, so those will be left behind, and they will be up to those folks down there to clear as well. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Yeah, so the businesses will still be required to comply with the downtown snow clearing bylaw to have their sidewalks cleared by 10 a.m. So we'll be deploying an extra 4 staff downtown to do that work. And we already have a couple down there. And so we do clear downtown now in areas that are in front of city property that's owned. And we clear the crossings at intersections so that we can facilitate safe travel there. And in and around pad buttons, I guess, as Cheryl mentioned, however, in the downtown area right in front of where the businesses are, that still would be the business owner's responsibility to clear that. I think that's kind of it in a nutshell, but if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Like, when does it start? So when will so you said 2022, 2023, is it?
Yeah, so as soon as we get some winter precipitation.
Okay.
So yeah, so
this weekend maybe.
yeah. Yeah, so it'll be the fall of 2022. So
okay.
Yeah, it could happen. You know, sometimes we get snow in October, but usually it's not till around the middle of November when we start to get some.
So you're not doing it like right now, but so you're gonna wait. Like, so this season is wrapping up, and then so then Brian's still busy with enforcement like this winter, and then September and on will be a combination of machine snow clearing and businesses.
Yeah, I believe the intent is that we're going to try and help remove the bulk of the snow if it's a large snowfall. So if we get like 8 centimeters of snow, like 3 inches or more, we're going to be out there clearing that sidewalk just to help make it easier for the business owners, so they don't have to remove quite as much snow. But I guess I do want to clarify that there will be some residual snow that will be left from windrows, and we won't be able to get down necessarily to bare pavement. So there's going to be some salting, sanding, that kind of thing that still needs to take place.
Thank you.
Louise? Okay, Louise and then Carolyn.
Craig, I was wondering, who has responsibility, or is it shared in terms of, I mean, for me, the biggest issue for me is the snowbanks. I can't get over them. So I'm looking for some kind of opening that I can walk from my car to the sidewalk. And is it sorted out whose responsibility it is to do that after a snowstorm?
Yeah, one thing that we do to help that is we do snow lifts in the downtown. So we will remove the snowbanks once it gets up to, I believe it's 24 inches in height. So we do have, that's our level of service as approved by council to remove snow out of the downtown areas in and around the parking stalls and whatnot. So we haven't done that yet this year. Thankfully, we haven't had a lot of snow, but we do that usually on average between 2 to 4 times a year, usually once prior to New Year's Eve downtown, the celebrations and whatnot, and then as required during the season.
So whose responsibility is it, though, not to get rid of the snowbanks, but to make a pathway through the snowbanks so you can get from your car to the sidewalk? And you don't, so many times I have to walk on the road to a stoplight or the crosswalk, which is not really safe because the snowbank's there. And sometimes some I guess forward-thinking store owners shovel out in areas so you can get through the snowbank.
Yeah, currently that's we do leave that up to the store owners.
Yeah, I think it would be a store owner thing
yeah.
too. We can only do so much.
Yeah, and where does it, when the machine does the snow at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, where do they put the snow? Do they take the snow with them? Oh, my dream, right? Or does it become part of the snowbank or whatever?
It would become part of the snowbank. And then, yeah, we remove that, as I mentioned, once it reaches about 24 inches high, we'll remove that snow.
Yeah, so that, I'm always happy when that's done. So
yeah.
That's great. I was been around long enough that I remember the days when they didn't do it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carolyn?
Good evening, Craig. Can you tell me what are the streets that you consider the downtown that the city will be having in their pilot next year?
It would be the area that's defined in the business improvement area itself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that would be Dunlop Street, Collier Street, and then Simcoe, is it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Those 3 streets, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's typically where there's existing parking stalls. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can chime in if you like. Based on the bylaw, the geographical boundaries are Dunlop Street east from Points to Bayfield Street, Dunlop Street west from Bayfield Street to High Street, Mulcaster Street from the foot of Mulcaster Street at Lakeshore Drive to Collier Street, Owen Street from Dunlop Street east to Worsley, Clapperton from Dunlop Street east to Collier Street, the west side of Bayfield Street from Simcoe Street to Ross, the east side of Bayfield Street from Simcoe Street to Worsley, Maple Ave from Simcoe Street to Ross, Mary Street from Simcoe to Dunlop Street West, the north side of Simcoe Street from Bayfield to Fred Grant Square, so Chase McEachran would be the newer area there. The south side of the street from, it says Fred Grant, so Chase McEachran to Dunlop Street East. The south side of Ross Street from Bayfield to Maple, and Collier Street from Bayfield Street to Mulcaster. if that's not confusing, there's definitely a large geographical boundary there, but
it is a big area for sure.
Thank you, Brian. I didn't realize it was so comprehensive.
I try and come prepared.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I have a question, just because I do work downtown. There are some business spaces that appear to be unoccupied, and we do have an issue sometimes with them being cleared. I know most of the business owners I know downtown are very good at getting their areas cleaned pretty quickly, but we do have a couple of areas that are just not up to par, and I would not want to think that we have people, come downtown, expect that the sidewalks are going to be clear, and then have an area that's either not iced or not salted, or otherwise sort of treacherous.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I can speak to that. Generally speaking, our staff are going to go out daily at 10 a.m. and we inspect the sidewalks. So we don't inspect by vehicle because obviously you can't get a general feel for what the sidewalk actually, whether it's slippery or not, without actually being on it. They're literally walking this entire area. So generally we split it up east and west of Bayfield Street, and we'll have 2 officers patrol the entire area on foot. Any location that they come across that is slippery, snow covered, that hasn't been addressed, we're going to issue them a warning notice for 1 hour to remove the ice and snow. Failing that, once the 1 hour is up, those officers will go back and re-inspect those areas. If they haven't been cleared, we call a contractor. The contractor comes out and clears it down to bare pavement, or puts down salt. It will kind of depend on weather. When it's minus 30, salt doesn't generally work overly well, but as I'm sure Craig can attest to. But we do our absolute best to get it down as bare and clear as possible. And then the contractor would then send us a list of those locations, and we bill those the property owner. So yeah, I can probably list off those vacant properties that we have issues with, because generally anytime there's any kind of accumulation, we're sending the contractor out there. It's almost an automatic. Really? And I mean, they end up paying the bill at the end of the year. I don't know if it's just the cost of doing business. Some people do hire a contractor and they will do it. Again, sometimes those contractors are doing them early morning, and by the time we get there, there's obviously still a concern there. So if they're not being cleared, again, we'll send out the contractor to ensure safe passage of the sidewalk.
Great.
To be clear, we do only do it at 10 a.m. daily. So if there is a continued accumulation after that 10 a.m. inspection period, we're not going to be back down there again. So I can see that there would definitely be potentially an accessibility issue at 4 p.m. After a day of continually snowing. But we're kind of bound to the bylaw and the way it's written, and it sounds like based on the way that Craig's going to be doing things, there may also still be that potential to require the business owners to adhere to this bylaw. It just sounds like they might get a little bit of extra help. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks. Any other questions? Comments? No?
Thanks so much for attending and for
talking
to us about snow. I know
Yes.
I know it's a contentious issue for both of you guys.
Yes.
But it's something that's important. So
absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Happy
goodness
to be
we
here.
haven't had a lot this year, right?
yes,
So
knock on
fingers
wood. Like, let's not jinx that.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad to
Mother-
meet.
Yeah,
I'm glad
nice
to
to meet
meet
you.
Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
as well.
very much.
And, I will just go back and say one other thing, that there is one thing that kind of hinges on us conducting these patrols before December with the downtown patio projects and things like that are in place.
Oh, yes.
They're going to we put the the onus back to the property owners, and we're not actually inspecting until December, till
Yeah.
after the November 30th date when
Right.
the patios everywhere program would end.
Right.
I'm sure that would also hamper Craig and his operation.
Yeah, the machines. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
goodness, yes.
Yeah.
So that may be something, I wish Councillor Thompson was here, because that may
I
be
do
something
too.
that we could address
Yeah.
when implementing everything, so that we cover all those bases.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. I hadn't thought about that. It's true. The machines, how are they gonna? That's gonna be a little bit of an issue, Craig, with those patios. Hey.
Yeah, there is a memo or a staff report that's going to be going to council regarding the patio season. And
Okay.
that's something that we're going to bring it up so that we can hopefully sort out some solution to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. Or we'll just have to start heating the sidewalks,
That would be awesome.
right?
I'd love it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be
Wow.
lovely. Okay.
Toasty feet all year
Yeah.
round. Okay,
that was really cheap.
Brian, you're the
Counselor
savior
Thompson
for
now.
our third age beer.
Hold on, Counselor Thompson just joined.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Oh,
He's just joining now.
just as we're wrapping up.
Yeah. Sorry, there he is.
and there he is.
Hi, Councillor Thompson. We have Brian Keane from Enforcement Services and Craig Morton from Roads here, Roads Operations. So we just finished learning about the snow removal in the downtown area, and we were just about to say goodbye to them. But one of the things that we were talking about was some questions that still exist related to downtown snow removal, especially with the new pilot, given the patio season and things like that. So if you have any comments, jump in. If not, we'll say goodbye to Brian and Craig, but your perspective would be welcome.
You're on mute, just so you know.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical. Yeah, thanks so much for the update. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize.
It's all right. Oh. So are you able to provide any comment on the downtown snow removal?
In regards to the new thing that was passed in the budget?
Yes.
So we're gonna try a pilot project where we're gonna increase. So before the downtown businesses were responsible to have it done before 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
What the pilot project will do is a machine, and Craig will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, is it'll take the bulk of the snow away, and then the store owner will still need to be responsible for maintaining it, throughout the day and stuff, because you can't have machinery when patrons are shopping and stuff like that.
No. And specifically, we were asking about the impact of the patios and the timing, I guess, of the snow removal, given that the patios are out until November 30th, right? Is that correct?
I could be wrong, but I think the only patios that can stay out over a certain date have to be able to be removed within a 24-hour notice.
Okay.
I think that's the way the bylaw is written, and that if we got a really heavy snowfall, freak snowfall, that they would have to remove the patios. So the machine will go up to the patio, go back on the road, come back, and then I guess the owner of the business would have to maintain the snow, and then I think the patio is removed. So going forward, they can maintain the sidewalk.
Okay. That makes sense. Anybody have any questions on that? No? Okay, thank you, Councillor Thompson. I guess we'll, Cheryl? Were you going to say something?
No,
Sorry,
I
I just saw your pen go up like
no,
this.
I
thought,
know,
oh,
I
maybe
know.
I'm
I
poisoning.
I feel like I should work for AT&T telephone company. I don't even know if AT&T exists anymore, but my little gamer headset here. Yeah.
Okay. So we're okay, and Brian and Craig can be excused.
I was just going to say thank you so much for
Thank you.
your 2 cents, Councillor Thompson, and thank you so much,
Yes.
Brian and Craig. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
My
Thanks.
pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe. Okay, so welcome, Heather. Nice to see you. I'm glad you made it.
I do apologize. There was an issue with which email the invite had gone out to, and I didn't have it on me, and then I double booked myself. So I got it as soon as I could.
Well, we're just about, I guess we're on item 2.5, which is the National Accessibility Week, and Cheryl has an update for us.
Well,
Cheryl has an update for us.
I don't really have an update. It's just it just with the Omicron, like I think we keep thinking we're going to be in person, and we keep thinking we're going to be doing something. But I just wanted you guys to know that the direction I've been given from our health and safety staff and the CAO is that we have to be following public health. So I think what we'll do is we'll have discussions maybe every month leading up to the week. And then if it ends up being just a proclamation and a virtual celebration, that's what it is. But if some miracle happens and we're back to physical gatherings by April, then we can maybe have an in-person presence. Maybe we can have like a pancake breakfast or something in celebration of, so it's kind of a downer. That's my update. So
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think we all feel like that. I'm sorry.
I know.
Noise.
I think we keep thinking, we keep pushing it out, saying, "Oh, next month, next whatever," and it's not. We're not there yet. So we have to be safe. We have to be safe. So.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, then we're looking at item 2.6, which is
Louise has her hand up. Sorry.
Louise, sorry. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of the later life learning programs in, say, York and Simcoe area, they're all going virtual for the spring, like the April, May, and June, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
It'll all be done by Zoom, which is so disappointing.
It is. I know the Garden Club thought that we'd be back by September. We thought, oh, we'll open up, our new season, September. No. January? No. Yeah, we just have to deal with it, I guess. So any other comments on that? Then we will move to item 2.6, which is the Accessibility for Ontarians, the AODA.
Yeah, so I submitted our compliance report to the province in December, and we actually thought that we weren't going to be fully compliant because we've been working on our website compliance for months and months and months, and we've been doing well, like getting 97%, 98%, but not 100%. And so I was saying to staff, we might have to report that we're not fully compliant. But our IT staff pulled out all the stops and made some really impressive changes and some additions. And we recorded 100% compliance. And the day that we recorded that, I submitted our report. So 2 weeks later, we were to 98%, and then a week later, we were 100%, and then it keeps going up and down like that. Yeah. But at least we made 100%. So I submitted our compliance report. The province accepted it. They will audit us and then provide us feedback should there be questions about what they determine. But we're totally comfortable with that because, you know, we just want to make sure that we're improving and getting better. So if they determine that there's something that we can do to make us better, then we welcome that feedback. So that's kind of exciting. So what I'm going to do then is I'll do a little report for our annual status that will go onto our website, and I'll present that to you guys in February. It will include more than just our compliance, our AODA compliance. It'll also include some of the consultations you've had over this last year, just as it's kind of like an annual recap of what you've done in 2021. And even though it's been 100% virtual, your feedback for staff has been incredibly valuable. So we just like to make sure we capture that. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations and thank you and well done. Job well done. Wow, pass our congratulations on.
I will. It's like I have people in our staff, I think, are just, some of them are tired of talking to me about accessibility, but they put up with me. They're so kind and they put up with me. So I get pretty excited when this stuff happens. So
yeah, and that is exciting. Well, that's it for our meeting today. It went a little quicker than I thought it would, but that's good. Any other comments or anything that anybody wants to say before we adjourn for February, until February?
I just wanted to apologize, and I didn't get a chance to wish everybody a happy new year. And I apologize for being late. I had a little bit of problems with my Zoom. I don't have my iPad. I just had my phone and it wasn't updated. So I apologize.
We missed you, but that's okay. Life happens.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year. Yeah, we did miss you though, but welcome. Okay, so then I guess we will adjourn until February. And be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Heather and for Councillor Thompson, so Kevin Bradley provided us with a lovely presentation on East Bayfield revitalization, St. Vincent revitalization. And there is going to be a public survey that's going out. So he's going to be sending that information. Councillor Thompson, you'll probably get it before I do, because he said that it's going to go through council to public. But this committee is really interested in providing feedback. So once we get the information about that survey link, if you want to share it with us, Councillor Thompson, that'd be awesome. And then anybody on this committee can share it out, or if Kevin sends it to me, I'll share it to everybody on the committee and you guys can share it out. So that's good. Heather.
I'll definitely share it.
Sorry, Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
No, I just said if I receive it before the committee does, I would definitely share it.
Wonderful, thank you.
I just wondered whether it was possible to get a copy of that presentation. I didn't see it attached in.
It was a verbal presentation, like it's so early, and that's part of the reason why they're going to do the public survey, is because like they don't have any design drawings or anything yet. They have an idea and they know they want to include accessibility and inclusion. And for the East Bayfield one, they have a little bit, they don't have a design, but they have a little bit more of an idea, because they're going to configure the wheelchair swing, like platform swing, with that redesign. So that's, so they know they have a few elements that they have to do there. Yeah. So it's just verbal, so early stages. He did warn us that it's going to be an aggressive kind of hit the ground running thing. Probably they want to have the RFP out for the build, etc. by May, which looks like, so if that happens, then that means like site works and all that kind of stuff probably won't happen until the fall, because both of those spaces will probably be programmed. So the East Bayfield Community Center is it's right next to the community center, and that recreation department uses that. So I don't know that they'll build over the summer. St. Vincent's, they might. but you guys will be involved in all of those stages. And it's that the public comment kind of survey is going to, they have, and they also have a public meeting, which will probably be a virtual meeting. We'll get those dates to you. That'll happen in February. So absolutely, Heather, it would be fabulous if you could be involved, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Be safe.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
Good night.
You too. Good night.